Okay, so I'm very excited to present again the incredible Denson with part 2 of his amazing contribution to an expansion of humanity's consciousness, really is what it is. And his book here, A Journey Out of Hell, for anyone that wants to get a copy, I highly recommend it. It's a PDF available on my website. You just go in and opt in your name and your email, and you'll receive a link. And then you just go in for 12 Australian dollars. You can purchase a copy, which of course in American and UK dollars is way less again. So it's a very reasonable price, thanks to Denson for that. And it's going to be something that you read that will really, I believe, expand your consciousness in different ways. It has a section on information about humanity's journey out of hell. And then it also has a section on the meaning of many, many dreams. And I'd like to start today, Denson, because there's so much that we can talk about. But I like to start with what you've told me, which is intention is everything. Spirit does everything. Dark energy is gone now, and we need to go back to God. Life is about balance. So you're saying that everything that we're going toward now is going to be in a positive direction, ultimately, because the intention of enough people in humanity has been to create a better world. Can you speak to that, please, Denson?
Yes, there was a time which the Mayan calendar pointed to, which ended in 2012. The Baktan of the 13th Baktan ended in energetically in 2012. We are now in the 14th Baktan of the consciousness rising toward love of the planet, love of other people, love of the animal, love of even the rocks, the trees, the sky. So this time, in this time, we have passed a marker. Humanity passed a marker, astrologically speaking, whereby it was brought to the attention of humanity to witness what is to come. It still hasn't arrived yet, to be quite honest with you. We are still, there's still sweeping up to do.
Right.
Yeah, it's like all the main work has been done, like clearing out the main energy. As I was saying in the last episode, Saturn was holding the energy of the Baal, B-A-A-L.
Yes.
Which is an ancient, influenced Khazaria, the whole mess.
Did you have an image that you painted of Baal?
Sorry?
Did you have an image or painting that you painted of Baal?
No. The Baal energy is something that, no, it doesn't belong in it doesn't belong in here.
No.
It's of a dark energy, and
Sure.
I didn't want it.
Sure.
I mean, we got rid of it.
Yes.
And when to get rid of that energy, when Micheal took me there, we had to trick it. We had to trick it to come out from hiding. Now, there's a long story about every time I went out into the world to do my job, or do sport, or walk about the people or whatever, I kept bringing back energy that attached itself to my Bardo body. I didn't know it, but it did. And when I got home here, Micheal told me, I couldn't wait to get to the board. Micheal told me to take off your jacket, do blah, 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 and act like you're coming home, and then go in, pick up your jacket, throw it in the wastebasket, and then pretend you're going to wash it. Right? So I would do that. And as soon as the energy saw me going to throw it in the machine, it jumped. And when it jumped, he grabbed it.
Fantastic.
So, and there's a whole story of every time I came back, I had to go through this scenario to expose the energy that it that I attracted.
So your job as a soul is to sort of, you go into sort of the darker energies and you transmute them, or you allow them to go to where they belong. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, because they were either taken to the Uruka or they were taken to the place of nowhere, which is mentioned in the book. The place of nowhere is like a nebula. It is like, it's the nebula is the birth of suns. So they're going to be there for eternity.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes. You shared with me some very interesting knowledge here that I'd love to bring up onto the screen. This was something you described to me, and I made a flow chart of it. So it describes what is happening to humanity right now and what has happened. So you describe how originally we were in unity, and then we individuated, went through the process of individuation, and we became individual energies. And then now what's happening is we're going from the process of being individual energies to through the process of unification and unifying to again becoming a unity consciousness, a unified energy.
Yep.
Speak to that, Denson, please.
Well, way back at the birth of the sun, we were actually it was a dual sun. There was a binary sun.
Actually, shall I bring up that image, or that's an old image, the one, I mean, that's not the relevant, is it, is that two sun image relevant to that? No, that's different.
No, that's now where they're joining back together again.
Sure. Yep.
So when the sun was born, it was born as twins. And then, but we're talking energetic. We're not talking physical.
Yes.
We're talking in an energetic sense. So the binary sun to the one that you saw in the heavens it was taken away. So we became a system whereby we became individual. We lost our sight of, eventually we lost our sight of who we were. We thought that the ego and this is it.
We thought that it was about the ego. That's right.
Yeah. So we lost our sense, although not completely, because our DNA, it was always written in the DNA of who we were.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole system became just a duality. It was like two of everything, like you, me, separate. Everything was separated, and I stood alone, and all this sort of thinking.
And we were separated from the divine.
Yeah, and we were forever trying. There was some really, like I said before, there were some divine beings that came to Earth, but they were few and far between. I mean, they could have been yogis, they could have been lamas, they could have been, high priests of some order.
And you've got image of a few of them here, haven't you, in your paintings?
Yes.
So why don't we bring some of these paintings up and see if we can just have a look at some of these beings that you're talking about that came to Earth to try to raise the consciousness and to help humanity. So tell me when we come to one of these beings. Yeah.
Now the one there, the cat person there, the Bonn.
Yep.
The black,
this one
here
here
in the dark. There's also the magic component. The black magic, the dark magic, and it penetrates the black magic. So the cartels or the hierarchy that have been running, the minions that were controlling this earth, and I use the word were, they still think they're in control, but there's no way. They've lost their puppet master, which was Saturn. The
Fantastic.
energy of Saturn is gone.
Yes.
So they're floundering around like puppets with no strings.
Love
But
it.
the Bonn use magic to infiltrate the dark magic.
Can I read what you've written here? The Bonn energy. The energy of the Bonn is a dark magician energy that sweeps around the world, that of the dragon. It is and uses the elemental energy of nature to bring forth changes, the way in which humanity treats the natural world. Looking upon and meditate in silence, then one can achieve that which will bring forth the magic that lies within each of us.
Yes, that's right. The magic, is something that people have forgotten. They have vilified magic, the word magic. They used it in a dark manner. It's the same magic, but it depends how you invert it.
Yes.
It's
Yes. So
it's
you can
like
use it for good, or you can use it for evil.
well, that's right. Everything had been inverted, and it was all off balance.
It's a
The
very interesting image there, Denson. It got sort of like a bit of a cat face.
yes,
That was the image that came to you.
yes, that's the image that came of the Bonn. Now,
Yes.
when I went into Tibet, which is in that book there, the Bonn visited me because they are the original people of Tibet. The Bonn,
Right.
the Buddhism was taken into Tibet out of India because the dark energy always wanted it. It wanted to destroy it.
Mm.
Well, it never succeeded, did it? I
Well,
mean,
there was all the stories of the Nazis going to Tibet to try to, gain that knowledge, and also the sacred artifacts and things from Tibet.
yeah, that's right. But they had no idea what they were looking at. They had no idea what was protecting, and it was the Haruka. The Haruka protected that sacred uh, energy, words.
Yes.
Yes. So they had no chance of ever destroying it. They tried. They bombed many of the buildings of they, but they didn't. They didn't succeed.
Yeah. 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 Are there any other major avatars or higher light beings that you'd like to share an image of now?
Well, the two, the sitting bull and sitting bear.
Okay, I'll
Now,
bring up I'll bring up the images here.
yeah,
And I love your artwork, Denson. It's amazing. So I'll just bring up Chief Sitting Bull here.
sitting bear is to the right there.
Yes.
Now, sitting bear is by his name is the strength of the bear, and he wanted his painting just as it is in blue because he now is a part of the new people of Neptune, being the blue color.
Beautiful.
And he is going to be, that energy of the bear is going to be the new energy of America.
Wow.
Led by the original people, the indigenous people of America. Sitting bear and sitting bull are going to be the energies by which the new America will operate.
Fantastic. I'll read it here. Chief Sitting Bear. He sits on the chief's council with the steely look of authority. His strength is in his wise counsel as he delivers his decision. The eagle consciousness is his guide to higher energy, and he wears the eagle feathers to show his leadership. Those who seek his advice will find it in his eyes. They reflect the wisdom to the question one asks.
Yes. Yep. And then sitting bull, which is to the left there,
yes,
he is the energy of the mountain. So you will have the bear in the mountain will be the new America, not the one that's there now. It's which I could tell you a story about what was leading that place, but it's now gone. It was taken into the sun. But sitting bull and sitting bear will be the new leaders of, energetically speaking, I'm talking,
Yes,
of
yes, yes.
America.
So I'll read the one about Chief Sitting Bull. Sits with patience and strength, steadfastly staring into the eyes of those who would challenge him. He raises no hand to stop the advancement of aggression. Without fear, he is unmoved till the emotion is past. He has a very divine feminine sort of energy, that image.
Yes, yeah, he does. And he wanted to be painted solely as black and white with the energy lines behind him.
Right.
Whereas sitting bear has got the blue energy. No, he's got the blue and the gold. I don't know whether the gold comes out in that print, but the gold speckles of the inhabitants of where he is.
So with
Makes
those
sense to
two
me.
energies that you say are leading, they're going to be leading energetically how it progresses going forward, America, the I am
Yes,
race.
yeah, exactly.
An anagram for the I am race. What about the divine feminine energies? Do they embody those as well?
What America?
Oh no, the Chief Sitting Bull and Chief Sitting Bear, because
Well,
they're both masculine energies. Is there a feminine one as well that's coming in with that, or?
the into America you're talking? No,
Yeah.
Sitting Bull. Actually, the Earth, humanity is now ruled by the divine feminine, not the masculine.
Yes, exactly.
So the mountain of Sitting Bull and the strength of Sitting Bear are really from the divine feminine.
Right. That's good to know. Yeah.
The divine masculine now is there just to protect, as it should have been in the first place, or was. It was divine. The divine masculine protects the divine feminine. That's the role, not to
Yes.
be up front taking charge and all this sort of thing.
Sure. They ground and protect, and the divine feminine aspect is the part that's particularly spiritually connected as the like the conduit to the higher knowledge and wisdom. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, the divine feminine is the creator.
Yes, exactly.
It is the creating energy, not the masculine. So what has happened with all this woke business and everything else? They've tried to again, the nefarious people have tried to flip everything upside down.
Yeah.
Well, they're not succeeding. It's not going to succeed
No.
because they've got to get back to what the organic principles are of yin and yang,
Yes.
and what those principles mean.
Yes.
And back under the old Bagwah, as the secret of the golden flower, you had to turn the masculine energy back in on itself. So you had to, whereas, yeah, don't allow. That was the practices they used then, but see now we don't have to do that. We don't have to do any of those things because it's all back in balance.
Right. That's fantastic. And you talk about how Taoism is going to be the new way forward for humanity. So
Yes,
share with us
yes.
the significance of Taoism, and how do you spell Taoism, just so people know?
TAO or DAO.
T-A-O. But
Yeah,
it's
because in
pronounced
Chinese the T is pronounced D.
D. Yes, Taoism. Okay, so tell us about why Taoism is so significant.
Taoism is so significant because it's the original. It is the original teachings from Lemuria, from the land of Mu. Comes from Fuxi. Fuxi Fuxi was the
Got an image of Fushi, haven't you?
well, it's just Fuxi's dragon, and
Oh, the
what I had to
dragon,
do,
the
I
dragon
had to,
oracle. Yep.
yeah, I had to paint the dragon with his name in gold underneath it, which
Okay.
is how he wanted it. But then you got the Fuxi. He's the original designer of the Fuxi zodiac, which is the 12 animals.
So there's the dragon oracle there.
Oh no, that's the oracle dragon.
Oh, it's a different one. Okay.
There it is there on the
There
left.
it is. Okay, there's Fushi.
Now I painted his name in the green because the gold didn't come out when I printed it.
Right.
So I had to, it's gold up there, but on the original painting, but there it's not.
Can I read the words underneath? With the magic that was once taken from them by the duality of the old Bagwah, Fuchi and his dragon are now the holders of that which wizardry and magic brings forth the design magic to those who look upon them. Their home is the planet Mercury, the protector of the sun, the portal to other realms.
Yes, the sun is the portal to the divine. The
Yes.
sun is a divine energy.
And that's why they've said we have to wear sunglasses, the dark, the cabal, because they're trying to block us from connecting to the sun.
That's right, because the photons now are entering our pineal, are entering the DNA of humanity.
Yes.
So the dark energy is lost. They just can't. They're just not lying down.
No, they can't get the memo that
No, they can't.
they're done.
They're done. They were done when the Buddhas came to Earth back in March of 2019, and my son and I were here at this house, and we're both talking on an esoteric level.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden there was a massive storm, thunder, there was lightning, like it was unbelievable. But Clint said, "Can you hear that?" And I said, "No, I can't. There's just a lot of noise." And he said, "I can hear Tibetan drums and the Tibetan horns." And he said, "The dragon is with me." The dragon was behind him, and he said he's got his head resting on his shoulder. And I said, "Oh, wow, man, and that's when we created those 4 songs that night when the Buddhas arrived from the Constellation Hydra. Now, going back,
you come from the Constellation Hydra, don't
yes,
you?
my connection is Constellation Hydra,
Yes.
and because Shaolin is one of the Buddhas of Hydra.
And we have an image of Shaolin here as well that you've painted. Let's bring that one up. Let me just find it. Is it on this one, Shaolin, or is it on the
I don't think I have a painting of Shaolin because I had his statue.
Oh, okay, sure.
I got it. Remember that the statue that was given to me by the Chinese sage?
Yes.
Remember?
Yes. Who helped name you, Den?
Yes.
Sun is so significant to who you are.
Yes. She named me. She gave me she said she carried this statue from when she was 17 years old. And she gave me and when she got it from this woman in whoever that was, the woman said to her, "This is not for you. It's for somebody you will meet way in the future at some time." So she kept it all of those years.
Incredible.
Until I don't know, accidentally I met her at some psychic fair or whatever. And then she said, "I got something for you," just like that.
Wow.
And I said, "Oh yeah, what's that?" And she presented me with that little Shaolin figurine, which now I've painted. Oh, I'll get it. Hang on, excuse me.
Sure.
There it is.
Oh, wow.
There it is there.
Wow. Gorgeous.
So she carried that all those years, and I'm directly, that was that was the brother of the sun that was divided way back all those eons ago. It was Shaozin.
Fascinating. Fascinating. So I wanted to mention to people as well that you actually have in your space, and we won't say exactly where you are, but you're on an island in Queensland and you have a healing center that you've been guided to set up where you are. So tell us
Yes,
about the healing center you've been guided to set up, because it's holding the energy for that region, and it's to do with the pyramid energy as well. So tell us more about that.
yes, yes. It's this center is. I was asked to name it Quan Yin Healing Center for the World. Now, I thought, for the world, really? I couldn't get my head around that. But what I have come to the conclusion that the Buddha conscious energy for giving healing in just the right way, which is what it's called, works energetically around the world. So the center is here, but it's all over the world, because here has been created a vortex, a pyramid vortex at this spot,
Yes.
which is energetic. It's in when the consciousness of humanity rises enough into whatever dimension that is coming, then this pyramid will appear because it's in that dimension.
Wow.
It could be the eighth dimension. I don't know exactly. I think it's the eighth. I'm not sure.
So here's your image of Kuan Yin that you brought.
That image there of the staff, those four stars around it are the four uh, uh, Merkabahs of the healing, for giving healing in just the right way. They're the Buddha conscious energy for giving healing in just the right way. They're around Mother Earth as we speak. Those four stars, which are mentioned in the book, they have a name.
Right. Okay. So
And
if you'd like to get I'll just again mention to people, if you'd like to get a copy of this incredible book from Denson, just go to my website and click in the opt-in page, and it's only $12 to get the PDF. Plus, you'll receive a beautiful free gift of a video of some of these amazing artworks and photos around Tibet and that area. So the Kuan Yin one here that we were just sharing says, power, grace, beauty, and authority. She travels throughout time and space on the dragon, conquering that which is needed to be overcome. She carries the reed and vase, indicating peace and tranquility to show the way home. So that's the image of Kuan Yin. You did mention too, Denson, that people can even purchase these prints, obviously not the originals, but people can purchase these prints. If you're interested in anyone purchasing a copy, please contact me and I will let Denson know, and he will arrange that potentially for you. Micheal, Archangel Micheal, but you're only supposed to call him Micheal, has said that he's going to really get this book out there for you, because it's important for people to have this to be reading at the moment. Isn't that correct?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. He's right. He's here. He's here helping with that particular project.
Mission. Yes, yes. So I think, had we finished talking about the pyramid energy that you've set up here, the pyramid, what I wanted to mention in relation to what you just said then was that I remember you saying that you were looking out your kitchen window and you saw a whole different scene where you were, of valleys, and it was completely different, and that is like a different dimensional realm that we're potentially going into, like the fifth dimensional, the new earth that you were looking at through your kitchen window right now. So tell us about that experience, Denson.
Well, one night I got up, I don't know what time it was, early morning, I just got out of bed, sat on the edge of the bed, and I looked to my right at the wall, and a young girl came through the wall. And I thought, whoa, where did you come from? And anyway, as I stood up she came over and she stood alongside me, this young girl. Oh, she was only about 10 years old. And together, I didn't think any more about it. I didn't worry about it, but together we went out into the kitchen. Why the young girl is still a bit of a, yeah, that'll come into play maybe down the track a bit. But I looked out the kitchen window and I looked at next door, but the next door wasn't there. There was no house, no nothing, except these rolling hills, lush green, like velvety green hills with all these.
Which is interesting because you're only on a small island, so there wouldn't be rolling hills.
Yeah, I don't know where these hills come from.
Yeah.
But there was children playing on them, all running and everything. So
beautiful.
What I was actually looking at, it's a place where children are. It's maybe it's our future selves that I was looking at, because I think it was a different dimension than the fifth.
Because
I think it was somewhere else.
Sure. You're saying that too, when we have a concept of heaven, it's based on a 3D understanding of reality. So it's sort of fairly limited, but the true energies that we're going into are far exceeding what we can imagine in terms of the beauty.
Absolutely.
And that the heaven is an all-pervasive energy of just pure love. You describe that it is more beautiful than we can imagine in terms of what we're going into.
Oh yeah. But what I look at is not one particular place, but many places. It can either be down, for want of better words. I mean, we only can talk linearly, but down into other dimensions or up into other dimensions. But it's not heaven. Heaven is not. People say that they've been to heaven and all this. No, we're all going to heaven as a collective, but I don't think people, near-death experience and all that sort of stuff. No, they experience something that is linked to their consciousness. And it could be beautiful. It could be absolutely wonderful, but it's linked to heaven. It's not actually heaven. Heaven is a kind of, it's a place where compassion, where God, for any word that you want to call God, sits along with the Om being the omnipotence of all things that holds all essences of existence. But that's heaven. So, you can't, as a mortal, or our soul, for example, is a part of God, but I think it's what sits in heaven. And heaven is, the way of heaven is the essence of, that flows through everything, even the dark. The essence that comes from heaven flows through the dark, believe it or not, because in every yin there's a bit of yang, and in yang there's a bit of yin. So the dark energy still has this all-pervading essence of heaven flowing through it.
Right, and that's why it's important. That's why it's important not to judge it, because it's still part of the unified whole, the quantum field.
Yes, that's right. It's what was told to me as the one point. Everything goes back to the one point, the circle. The circle.
Yes. Great. And another concept that you really cover a lot in the book, which is really important to talk about, I think, is that giving healing in just the right way comes up throughout constantly this book. A Journey Out of Hell, this one here, which, as I mentioned, you can get the PDF. So here, giving healing in just the right way. Could you expand on what that means? So it's to do with when something happens to you, you will be given healing in just the right way. So you may not perceive that the healing was what you wanted, but it was just the right thing that you needed in order to shift your evolution and your consciousness. Would you like to speak to that?
Well, when the various energies are taken to wherever they're taken to, it is a healing. It's not a retribution. It's not vengeance and all these sorts of mortal thinking words. It's healing. Everything that is happening in the spirit realm is healing. So if they're taken to a place of absolute, demonic existence, then that's their healing. It's given healing in just the right way. But also in the opposite direction, for want of a better word, people who have stuck to their divine souls and have always been in integrity, sincerity, in that type of thinking, yeah, sure, they're going to have mishaps and all this sort of thing, but they're heading in the right direction, so they'll be given healing in that direction that their consciousness is, because they've asked for it. That's what they asked for.
Yes, their soul asked for it. Yes.
So healing can be, everything that happens is healing.
Absolutely, absolutely. We don't always see that, but we just have to trust and know that that is part of the bigger picture. You describe yourself as shaman den of lucid dreaming, as well as, you've been told that you're a record keeper, one of the record keepers for the solar system. So with this shaman den of lucid dreaming, you've listed a whole range of very fascinating dreams that all have important meanings, and you're continuing to document the dreams, I think, to this day still. Can you give perhaps an example of one of the most profound dreams that you have experienced and what it meant for you?
Well, around about 2000, I wasn't living here, I was living somewhere else, but I was meditating and I dreamt I had feathers coming out of my skin, little, like absolute defined feathers, and I was plucking them out, and I'm thinking, oh, what is that all about? This dream what's these feathers representing? And I couldn't, for the life of me, I could not work out what these feathers were about. Just recently, it came to light. I was watching a show on ancient China where there was a legend about was 8 giants came. I think it was 8. It might have been 6.
The Nephilim.
The land of Mu, I think it was called then. It wasn't called China, but it was that area. And they had a legend about these shining ones. They were giants. They were massive.
Were they the Nephilim?
Well, they didn't say in the legend what they were. They just said they had wings and feathers. And then I'm thinking feather, and my mind went straight back to that dream.
Yes.
Now, unbeknownst to me, there is a god in Mesopotamian language that's called Abu, A-B-U, and he was one of the giants, like Enki and Enlil were the major ones that are well known, but Abu was one of the giants, and he was the keeper of the plants. He had the knowledge and the secrets and everything about the plants. in this world.
Right.
And he was one of the giants that were in that legend, as I learned. And the feathers, what they were doing, he had the feathers. So whether I'm linked to him, I still don't, you know what I mean? Whether
Yes,
it
yes,
could be in my DNA.
yes,
I
absolutely.
don't know. I can't answer that categorically.
That's right. That's right. So for you, you get so much information through. It's like you're putting together the pieces of the puzzle of the truth about humanity and about consciousness. That's why I find your information so fascinating. There's another point that I really want to share with everyone listening, which is the significance of really understanding or understanding death. Death is so profound in terms of how we live our life and how we see death and how we perceive death really impacts on the quality of our life and our existence. And this is a very significant point for me and relevant at the moment because my best friend just passed. And so for me, it's been an interesting journey because I still feel her very much present with me and very much in my space. I feel like I can close my eyes and just talk to her still. And that it puts you in actually like a different space when you're dealing with the topic of death. It's like being in a dream in some ways. It's a different energy. And so I want you to talk about how the quality of our life is very much determined by how we see death.
Yes, well, in the traditions of Buddhist traditions, what they're doing in their meditation and their chanting and so forth, their way of life is to learn to die. Death is about meditating. Meditating takes you to where you separate this body, this thinking, this ego, to who you really are, to the awareness of you're no longer aware that this body exists. And that's the practice by which everybody should be pursuing, because at the end of the day, once you do that practice and you are meditating upon the things you need to meditate upon, which is tendencies to do things and all that sort of thing, then you are actually bringing the worlds or yourself back into harmony, into one. You're bringing your consciousness back into this space. You're no longer scattered across like we were talking about before, with the worlds that were created outside of this one. So if we practice that and we take our consciousness out of our normal way of being, other than sleep, then you're learning to die. And then when you die, you will understand straight away it's nothing to be feared of.
Because that is the number one, that's the number one source of why we fear, isn't it? It's that fear of death.
Exactly. Exactly, because it's the fear of the unknown. But if you meditate and you get into that sort of state where there is no thought, no longer dances across your mind like the moonlight on the ripples of an empty lake. That's the thought, because your mind is just watching those ripples of light in comparison to moonlight on the ripples. So if you can sit in that space and say and be aware of that awareness of who I am, instead of this,
the observer.
Yeah, you are becoming the observer. And then you ask the question, who am I observing the observer? So it's sort of like you go deeper.
Yes, yes. That's very much tied to the Eastern philosophies, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. But what happens in the West, because we don't practice, or some people do because they're drawn to it. And this is what I'm talking about, the light coming into the darkness, because all of those energies now are starting to manifest in the West.
Mm.
They're incarnating all these practices, these yogis, these masters of, the lamas and all the rest. They're incarnating now here. So they're bringing that to this realm. But what happens in the West is because a lot of people don't practice this sort of thing, they invariably meet with near-death experiences, accidents, and so forth like that, which takes them out of this reality, and then they come back, and then they have a harsh lesson in what death is.
Yes, because then that allows them from that point onward to have a much more expansive consciousness, a much greater way of looking at the world as being part of a divine, bigger picture, as opposed to just their individual self.
Yes, and and disease. If a person dies from a disease of like whatever that disease be, or they carried it all their life, an incurable disease like lupus or something like that, some DNA dysfunction, then they have created that because they're unbalanced. They're not in harmony with their cells, with themselves.
Yeah.
So they develop a disease that will teach them about death.
Mm.
So the next time that they incarnate, that memory is in their psyche.
Yes. Yes.
So not necessarily, it won't repeat, because if you've learnt the lesson the first time, it doesn't repeat.
Yeah.
It's all lessons. It's all, even death in that degree is a healing. It's like, get your head around that one, but it is a healing.
Yes. Yes.
So if something appears to be tragic or whatever, the fires have burnt this and the floods have taken so many lives. No, it's all to do with the right way of giving healing to the individual to learn about death.
Yeah.
That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah. And I think one of the real major problems with the Western way of being and the Western mindset is that we avoid all thoughts and aspects of death like the plague. It's so taboo. It's like the one thing you just don't talk about in pleasant society, because people have been taught to avoid that, which really limits your consciousness on so many levels. So I think that's a really great point. I'd like to share just a little bit of a reading from the book, if I can, Denson, which is The Journey of the Son of Man. The journey began when there was nothing but the energy of the Haruka when they first met. The sun gave birth to the newly formed solar system to which 12 planets came into existence. Then consciousness came forth into the planets as the mist of time developed, and the translucence of consciousness now began in all forms of being. Then came the murder of their mother as the high priest delved into the forbidden acts of mastery for their own benefit and gain. As the portal to the dark energy was opened, the density of consciousness sank into its lowest form as the energies for giving healing in just the wrong way descended into chaos. The planets materialized into the third dimension as the reign of terror began. The dark energy now sent an interstellar cataclysmic event to totally destroy the balance of the solar system. This was achieved, and the rearranging of the planets was complete. The original people of the planets was taken hostage and replaced with energies of manipulating malevolence for their own gain. The sun and the planets kept their benevolent natures as the solar system descended into hell. Consciousness became trapped in the hypnotic attraction of self-ego. The emotional states of mind and its connection with the elemental energies of thought created the attachment to all things of desire. This in turn created the web of karmic interplay on birth and rebirth. So this is what you'll be reading if you get a copy of this incredible book. And so I really encourage everyone to get a copy. At my website, just go to the opt-in there, and then you'll receive an email with details about how to purchase your $12 Australian PDF copy of the book. Denson, it's been an absolute pleasure to share all your knowledge and wisdom in these chats. I'm sure we'll do more ones. What would you like to say to people at the moment who are seeing everything going on the planet and are thinking that, you know, that the planet's descending into complete, you know, chaos and disaster? What would you like to say to them in terms of all your knowledge about this process that we're going through now?
Well, the real war, the real, I use the word war, but it's really like transmuting of energies has happened. What you're witnessing now on this planet is just the residue of the what's carried out in this dimension. But in the bardo and the higher dimensions, it is all done and completed and finished.
So what you're saying is there's many different dimensional realms. So at all the significant initial ones, it's already happened, or this positive shift into a much better reality. And it's this lower one, which is probably the last one where we see the results actually impacting on the physical level. Is that correct?
It's correct. We are the last, the effects here on this, because we're the lowest density there is.
Yes.
Other than, you know, 2D and 1D. Well, I don't think, well, there is entities there, but it's not us. But we're the last to overcome. We're sort of like, we're watching like a show, like a TV show. We're not really involved. It's sort of like it's just got to be carried out. It has to happen, and if it does come to blows in some sort of minor nuclear way, which I doubt, I don't think that would be allowed to happen. But if it did, it'd be very short-lived. It'd be like nothing. It'd be like a bunch of firecrackers going off. It won't be like people. What they only keep spinning that to incite fear. If the fear gets into the astral realms, they're creating worlds outside of this one. Well, don't take any notice of it. It's actually done, finished, over. The judgment, for want of a better word, has happened. The healing in just the right way is all taken place and done.
And the reason it's happened that way is because enough of humanity wanted to create through their consciousness a better world.
Yes, exactly.
So we created it. We
created it. Humanity created it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you think your major role has been, just to shift and transmute at the dark on many levels, both in the dream state and in the conscious state?
My role in this lifetime right now has been to bring I'm like I shine a light on different aspects through time.
Yes.
And through dimensions, through different, I shine a light there, and which, well, I'll go into that further, maybe if we do more.
Oh yes, we're doing more, don't worry.
But my job now is to remember, like the whale, for example, the whale consciousness is why I painted that picture.
I'm going to bring that up now, actually, that image of that whale.
That is the keeper. That is the keeper of all of Earth's. It's like the generic keeper, the whale consciousness. It's the master of the ocean, and the ocean. There's more to the water than you can It is one of the primal energies. Without it, nothing, there's no life.
Mm, mm. You've got written here the whale conscious. The vastness of the ocean is the domain of the whale. She swims in the deepest parts of the sea to only surface where she needs to be. With eyes of majestic sight, she looks at where she must be to protect those of younger mind to set the world free.
That's right. She does, because she brings up, she's actually the record keeper.
Yes, and you're the record keeper for the solar system.
Well, she's part, the reason because the whale consciousness is part of the Buddha consciousness of giving healing in just the right way. We're all part of that consciousness.
Yes.
We're all one.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, what I'd love to do, Denson, is to come back another day and do a chat about all your incredible paintings and images, and to talk through them and give more of a detailed explanation of each of those. That would be wonderful if we could come back and do that another time. In the meantime, again, I'd like to point out to people that this is an incredible book. If you want to get a copy, go to my website at medina.com. and you'll get the pop-up there. Anyway, Denson, I'm really grateful to talk to you again today with all this fascinating information. And I look forward to meeting up again soon. We're going to be doing a chat on my Soul Tribe channel on Sunday, which is a live show. So that'll be interesting, trying to bring it into into that 1 hour, try to condense it down. But yeah, I look forward to chatting to you live about that on that, Soul Tribe on Rumble on Sunday's show. And if people want to get a copy of the book or even ask Denson questions, please feel welcome to email me and I can pass it on. Thank you so much, Denson. It's such a gift to get your work out there into the collective.
Okay, Medina, thanks. Thank you. And it's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.